Hello, world. Hope everyone's doing all right. So, a couple of things were brought to my attention, and it happens on a few lives, and it kind of it's kind of um, confusing sometimes. And let's talk about let's talk about terminology, okay? When when you use terminology, people understand exactly what you're saying, what you want them to do, or what you want them to understand. Let me move this. So terminology is very, very important when you want to get someone to understand or have them learn and go into a direction where you are teaching. So terminology. When someone says um, dynamic compression, all right. So let's go in order here. All right. So I got these drawings on the board. So let's talk about compression. Okay. A lot of guys get this terminology of compression a little mixed up or confused, and they say static as a way of an actual number of what the engine does or produces, and they use dynamic as a means of taking into consideration the cam timing. Okay, and that's all well and good, but again, going to the terminology way of thinking, when you look at dynamic, you're taking many things into account. You're taking in ambient temperature, you're taking into consideration cylinder fill, okay? You're taking into consideration LSA, exhaust style, and all that plays into dynamic compression, because dynamic means everything as a whole and the outcome, okay? The dynamic is the engine running, okay? There is ways of calculating that and testing dynamic compression. However, usually people aren't, that kind of instrumentation, that way of checking and testing isn't just readily available, and many people just can't afford that type of test equipment. So let's look at terminology. We all can agree that static is a static reading from the bottom of the cylinder to top dead center. That is your static reading, okay? There's not really much to talk about there, because everyone can agree that static is just a static form. It is just a cylinder. It is how much it compresses, okay? That's not taking into consideration air temperature, valve timing, and so on and so forth. So let's move on to corrected. When you say something is corrected, okay, you are saying that you are taking into consideration the events that happen to give you an outcome. The events that happen is, of course, the valves need to be closed. And when the valves are closed, that usually means that the piston is more towards the middle of the cylinder, okay? So corrected is taking into consideration where the piston is, the bore, stroke, connecting rod length. That plays a big role in this. Remember, because when you have an arm and you lay it to the side, it gets shorter, and that's going to position the piston differently in the bore. So corrected is taking into consideration not only the chamber, but the leftover stroke after the valves are closed, okay? And when you go to look at a cam card, the most, hold on, someone's here. Yeah, all right. I know what this is. Let's just do a little unboxing here. And see what we got. Box, in a box, in a box. ship that box to yourself, and then when it arrives, you smash it. What movie is that from? Look at that. Wow. Oh boy. Tell you, I just keep getting deeper and deeper into this transmission, and before you know it, I'm going to have a 6 friction forward. Look at that beautiful piece of machinery right there. Huh? Look at that. That is very, very nice. And it's got the cutout for the wider bushing. Very important. And we'll get to that on the other. All right, moving forward. So, what do we have? So, what do we have here? Where was I? Corrected. Corrected. When you say corrected, you are taking valve train